For KDSJ Local Sports, Clayson Davis reporting as we continue with our fall sports recaps from the 2025 fall high school sports season. The team that went the farthest in the listening area, the Sturgis Scooper Football team. And head coach Chris Koletzky joins us here with KDSJ Sports to recap the Scoopers 2025 season. Coach, appreciate the time.
You bet. Thanks for having me.
So first of all, Coach, your Scooper squad made the state semifinals for the first time in almost 3 decades. How does it feel to get that monkey off your back?
You know, obviously we had some goals in mind in the preseason that we talked about. And, you know, after we beat Spearfish, we found out within the next 2 hours that, you know, other things fell our way and that we'd be hosting a first-round playoff game. And, you know, you fast forward to the next Thursday after the Spearfish game, and we're playing Watertown, and the kids executed and played well, and you know, got that W and got that monkey off our back, and that was just a great thing for our program. That you know, our kids weren't pressing or anything; they're just really focused and locked in the playoffs. And you know, when you look at the Yankton game that we played the following week, I really thought they played a good game. We just made some mistakes that you can at that point, but they certainly competed very well.
And looking at your team, of course, you lost Sully Jost early in the season. That a lot of state officials seem to write you guys kind of off as far as being a contender in Class 11 AA. You guys beat Spearfish in the final game of the regular season. That enabled you to host a playoff game. And then you beat Watertown, a team that you guys lost to earlier in the season. At what point in this year did your team kind of have the light bulb moment and realize, hey, we could really do something that hasn't been done here in a long time?
Well, I think after Sully went down, game 4 against Huron, and if you know, at that point, Huron was number 1 in the state. You know, it was a competitive game, kind of got away with us at the end. But when Sully went down, you know, then we go out to Aberdeen and honestly played a game that we had a lot of opportunities to win and just couldn't capitalize in the red zone. So, you know, you look at that, and then, you know, I've coached long enough that you really feel for the kid when you lose them, but the team aspect, it's more of a focus on next guy up. And our OC Ward Anderson, you know, we talked about getting Zoel Irian more involved, and Zoel was a guy, when you looked at our running back group, and we had 3 200-pound running backs that are super athletic, competitive kids, you know, and Zoel being part of that, and Garrett Roloff, who was a sophomore, who didn't get a lot of carries this year, but is waiting to help out next year. We knew we had a maybe deeper than usual running back room, and Zoel was just going to have to take more of that. But then we saw Peter Pye step up, number 12 for us. That was a senior, and just starting 2 ways there kind of really gave us a lot more than we thought he would at the beginning of the year. And I think he would even say that, and just competing that every single Friday to give us a chance. So those are great things to see.
And regarding your good group of seniors that helped Sturgis this season, what impact did they leave on the program, and what example did they set for the underclassmen that will have to take the leadership reins in 2026?
Well, I just think just being consistent and buying into the message that us coaches are trying to deliver each week. Because I think the unsung aspect of this whole team is that it was a team. And, you know, we really tried to preach hard early on. We are going to take the fear of judgment and failure out of this season, and we're just going to play hard, and the results will take care of themselves. And that was really the message that we wanted to send, that we didn't want to play with fear. We didn't want to play with fear of judgment or failure. Just get rid of those things and just play hard, because in the end, your coaches are coaching you hard. We love you. Your parents love you, your community. The rest of the things will take care of itself if you're intentional each day. And they really bought into that. And that's kind of what I think you saw as a result of winning some of the close games down the road, where you look at last year, we lost 4 games by a player or 2 each game last year in the middle of our season. It was really tough. And we just ended up being on the right side of that this year, and that was the difference. And then just seeing a team that it was a different guy every Friday night stepping up. That's the crazy thing about these guys, is it wasn't just one player. Yeah, Jackson Keenan was probably the guy that we had to rely on every single Friday night, making big plays on offense. But, you know, Zoel steps up, Peter steps up. Cole Litson has a 100-yard receiving game against Watertown and 2 touchdowns. I mean, it's just different guys every Friday.
With this season under your belt, what confidence does this instill in your football team heading into the offseason and looking forward to 2026?
Well, confidence and just you go about it understanding that it's now trying to keep continuing to raise the bar of expectations and understanding where you're falling short. And for us, it's always been kind of our off-season lifting, right? Like we need to address that and be better with that in our community and parents understanding like that's what it takes to beat a Yankton and appear in the semifinals or get to the Dome and be state champions. That's what it takes. And it's not that we don't have the kids here. It's just we're missing some of those aspects that we need to still get over that hump. But certainly for me as a coach, it establishes an ability to go in the hallway and maybe try to recruit some kids that you know are walking around that aren't out for football right now that you know you need.
As head coach Chris Koletzky of the Sturgis Scoopers joins us here on KDSJ Sports to wrap up the fall sports recaps for the Sturgis Scooper football team. Looking forward toward the off season, what's sort of the plan as far as weightlifting and summer camps, and what emphasis do you want to put on your football team in order to improve for 2026?
Well, for us coaches and athletically wise, our athletes, it's just focusing on if you're not out for wrestling, not out for basketball. Here's our off-season lifting, and we're starting up next week. And we're doing 3 days of lifting, and we're doing 1 day of speed training, which I'm the sprint coach along with Coach Anderson, our OC, he's our jumps coach. We really kind of grabbed that bull by the horns last year as far as trying to have a uniform speed training for our football players and our track athletes. And our biggest thing is if you want to carry the football, you need to be out for track. And if you're not out for track, you're at least coming for those speed workouts on the track with the track team. Because those guys that are touching the football, we need to get faster to be able to compete with the East River schools and Spearfish, obviously. You see the athletes that they turn out every year, and those guys are coming back. So that's the message with our guys is to get back in the weight room, get hungry again, and just keep chipping away at that. And us coaches are focusing on those kids that aren't out for wrestling or basketball right now. Because we want kids out, but if you're not, this is what we're doing.
And finally, Coach, I know it might be a little bit early to ask this, but with the returners you have coming back next season, with some of the barriers that you broke with this 2025 campaign, what are some early expectations and goals for next season?
Well, I guess I'd like to talk about this, more, not necessarily goals, because those are going to be similar to what we had. Hey, everybody wants to win a state title. But it's going to be about being consistent and intentional in practice each day and, maybe getting to the Dome and, beating a team on the east side of the state, just something that still has kind of gotten away from us. But, we have a big junior class coming back. It's like 18 kids, and a lot of those kids started. We have 4 offensive linemen coming back. All of our linebackers are coming back. Our tight ends coming back. We're going to have to replace Jackson, which is going to be tough. We're going to have to replace our DBs and receivers. That's going to be the big challenges, which underclassmen are going to step up in those positions. But, when you talk about the offensive, defensive line and the guys that we got coming back and our linebackers and our running backs, we feel pretty good about that. We just got to put the work in.
Awesome. Well, Coach Koletzky, thank you for the time joining KDSJ Sports to wrap up Sturgis Scooper football this season. Looking forward to see the Scoopers in action in 2026.
You bet. Thank you.